Am I a bad person for wanting to experience being catcalled?
Woo babby. Shake that sweet ass. Yeah. There you go. You got catcalled.
I'm gonna be honest, the reason most women are against catcalling is because it never happens in a context where it feels like a compliment. I don't think you're a bad person though. Seriously, I understand where you're coming from. I've been an invisible woman my entire life. I'm not particularly pretty or anything. I've been called ugly more often than not. I've been catcalled twice in my entire life. I feel lucky it's that low. Because some people I know have absolutely crazy stories and it never made them feel good. Believe me, it won't be a beautiful young dude in a context where you feel safe that will catcall you. It will be the creepy old dude that could be your dad.
It will be early in the morning in an empty train station. It will be late at night and you can't really see the guy's face. I promise you it won't feel like a compliment.
I think what you're experiencing is understandable and normal. When I was younger, I remember feeling similarly. I felt like I must not be very attractive if it weren't happening to me. And I actually found it kind of exciting the first few times it happened for the reasons you described. My tune changed pretty quickly though once I realized how threatened and dehumanized it actually made me feel. I think it's natural to feel the way you do. And you clearly understand that catcalling is not actually a good thing. And that your desire for it to happen is misguided. But that's just how feelings are. Women have a lot of social pressure to be desirable to men, and I totally get how these feelings would arise from that.
Are you a bad person? No. Nor are you unattractive just because you've never been catcalled.
You're not a bad person. I've felt this way before. I was always jealous of my pretty friends because they got so much attention and external validation. I still get jealous of them at times. But not in regards to catcalling. I've always struggled with my weight and self-esteem. During a period of my life when I was thin, I got catcalled for the first time ever. My first reaction was happiness and a feeling of external validation because I felt so desirable and attractive. Because I was walking by myself in a less populated part of a city, I decided to be cautious and chose to not react to him at all. I wasn't carrying anything to protect myself. Pepper spray, Swiss Army knife, taser, etc. Because I'd never had an experience where I felt attractive enough to be on the receiving end of unwanted attention. Big mistake. He decided to follow me and continue calling out to me. And at one point he almost cornered me in a small entryway. When I had noticed him following me initially, I called someone and asked them to just stay on the line with me. I genuinely think the only reason he left me alone in that entryway was because I was on the phone. He continued tailing me as I walked to my car but left more distance between us, allowing me to get in an elevator and close the doors without him catching up. I ran to my car and drove out as quickly as I could. Then broke down and started sobbing. It was terrifying. I've been catcalled since then and never got that feeling of happiness or validation again. The men calling out to women don't see us as people, just pieces of meat. They feel so entitled to comment on your existence as a sex object that they say it out loud, in front of everyone. And if they don't like the response they receive, they can quite literally get violent because it reminds them of our personhood.
When you realize that the simple act of walking down the street could be fatal if you don't handle or interpret the situation correctly, it's harder to feel flattered and much easier to feel afraid.
Wear tight shorts and a tight t-shirt and walk by a construction job site during lunchtime. Next.
Nah, you're not a bad person. You're just human. We are hardwired as a species to view negative attention as better than no attention. It's why kids act out. It's why adults troll on the internet. I'd even argue it's why some men catcall. Maybe there's an in-between where random genuine compliments from strangers would be nice, rather than catcalling. I, for one, wish people in my country would be a little more open to casually complimenting people in public. Provided they feel safe, of course. It feels way more respectful than catcalling. Problem is, there are a lot of bad people out there who can't just leave it at a compliment and will stalk you, or expect something in return. I totally feel this way. I just want attention from a guy and am jealous of girls who seem to always get that attention, and the irony is that they don't want it BC. It makes them uncomfortable, which I totally get. I have gotten catcalled more times than I could remember. Last time being about 2 weeks ago, 3 times in a row in a span of 5 minutes by 3 different guys. Sometimes it even happens when I'm with my family. We are probably around the same age or so. Something similar. I have never dated anyone either, nor had any romantic experiences yet. And I can assure you that you are not missing out on anything. The safety of not having to experience it is something I'd pay for. But I do understand where you are coming from. Maybe it's for the validation? Although IDK, if that's the best word for this. But not experiencing it doesn't mean you are more or less attractive. You seem to understand it's not something positive, but your desire of attention still wants it to happen. Again, for validation. You are not a bad person. You just want to be noticed. And I'm not judging, because I also feel this way for a long time. I hope it didn't come out as rude. I wish my wording was better, haha.
As a man, it's fun the first time or so, but it gets old real fast and you end up hating it fast.
I never been catcalled in my life, and I'm glad. It's mean I live in rather safe place. Not a bad person at all. Just understand it can be demeaning and make you feel vulnerable. Even as a pretty big, burly guy, I've gotten my ass slapped and catcalled by both women and men. Usually as a joke. And I'll usually play it off. I'd be lying if it didn't make me feel dirty when it was a random barfly woman and I wasn't remotely attracted to her. And I think that's the biggest issue. It can be an ego boost depending on context. But it can also be incredibly demeaning most of the time. You're probably going to feel very different if Brad Pitt does it versus a homeless man with a weird rash on his face. Come here, kitty kitty. Whistles, look at that piece. Hey baby, anybody ever tell you your legs go all the way up and make an ass out of themselves? Why don't you wiggle over here and gimme a kiss? Whistles again. I am not a man, but DAYUMMMMM girl, you seem like the kind of girl who would lend me her phone charger. So hot, heart. I want the same sort, though I don't think I could believe them. Can I ask you something? There's a lot of women who enjoy men's attention. I don't think it makes you shallow. I feel like that's just human instinct. Lots of men do the same thing. Have you actually seen men catcall other women? I live in a big city and seldom if ever see this happen. I think it's pretty rare these days. But who doesn't want attention? The problem with this kind of thing is that you have it as fairly innocuous. Although catcalls are sexual harassment, but quite often, this kind of harassment leads to physical harassment and confrontation.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.